How's it going, everyone? It's me, Vivi, and welcome back to some Crash Bandicoot on the Run. So yep, first things first, as mentioned in the title, Mr. Crumb, pretty much a long-lost boss, is making a surprising comeback in Crash on the Run. With the theme of dimensional travel and, multiverses, the team at King explains that this mobile game goes as far back as 20 full years of Crash Bandicoot history, with of course the multiverse at play. King believed it'd be awesome to implement basically 20 years worth of Crash Bandicoot, and with that, they thought of bringing back Mr. Crumb. Who is Mr. Crumb and what game was he from again? Well, back in the day, we had these mini portable retro gaming systems. One of them was called the Tiger 99X. Crash was on it, and was titled Crash Bandicoot 99X. Released back in 1998. This was not made by Naughty Dog, it was made by Tiger. And it was the very first Crash installment to feature some sort of multiplayer capability. Mr. Crumb, okay, who is he? He's an elderly ghost hiding in his mansion, guarding some big treasure. He's a very evil, grumpy, elderly ghost. There's an actual interview you can find on said Crash Bandicoot game. The link will be in the description below, but I will go over it just a bit. This Mr. Crumb character from Crash Bandicoot 99X was inspired by Looney Tunes. Not only was Crash Bandicoot, the character itself, originally inspired by Looney Tunes when Naughty Dog worked on it, but the developer of Crash 99X, who goes by the name George F., also stated that Mr. Crumb was based off Count Blood Count, a Looney Tune character. Mr. Crumb's full name is Croon Cruel Crumb, officially called Mr. Crumb. This sketch right here is what George F. remembers of Mr. Crumb's physical traits. Like I said, you can find the whole interview in the description below. Now the question is, what is Crumb going to look like after so many years? I mean, we're looking at a very retro gaming system, so I'm really curious to see how King is going to portray this character. I can already imagine the developer's reaction once he finds out that Crumb is coming back. A game from 1998. A boss is made relevant again after all those years. With that said, there's a quote I'd like to bring up from a recent interview with creative lead at King Stephen Jarrett, an interview by Gamespot. I think it's starting to feel like almost like the crashiest Crash game ever, in a way, because we're drawing from 20 full years of Crash games. And as the story is about all these multiverses, and Dr. Neocortex is pulling through all these bosses, we're able to pull through all these enemies and all these bosses that definitely existed in any Crash game before us. Yup, with all these multiverses, not only is Crumb in it, but we also got Scorporilla, which the team at King likes to include her as part of the original cast. Scorporilla made her debut in Crash of the Titans and later in Mind Over Mutant, so people were surprised when Scorporilla was included as part of the original cast of bosses. Returning bosses we know so far from the footage we've received: Mutated Embryo, Cortex of course, he's trying to take over the multiverse. We have Nina Cortex, her design by the way is pretty cool, just looking at it, come to think of it. And we have Dingodile. We don't really have footage apart from this screenshot, but yeah, maybe they changed his model because I remember reading stuff, people saying that they weren't really fond with it. I mean, looking back at Crash's first design, when Crash Mobile was first revealed, look at the difference. So perhaps Dingodile also got a change in design. As for returning levels, we got Temple Ruins, Barrett, Turtle Woods, and even Lost City. Although this is a runner-style game, it won't purely be an endless runner, according to King. The game will allow you to choose certain paths as you play, and as you progress through these levels, the more mechanics you'll come across, something the team wanted to emphasize on. Now, by choosing these different paths, you might find secret pathways, in which, for example, you can find special items. Items you collect in this game will allow you to craft weapons and expand your base. As you collect more and more ingredients, you head back to your base and craft weapons. The bazooka you see in this trailer, for example. Also, By progressing through the game will feature a collection run section, which will basically allow you to play these levels over and over to collect ingredients you need. It appears that gems and crystals are also making a return. If you're wondering if you can play as Coco or Crash anytime, yes you can. And for those wondering about framerate, yes, the game is confirmed to be running at 60 FPS. By customizing Crash, yep, you can do so by the way. You can unlock in-game skins and costumes. The more you customize your character, the more XP you can gain by defeating bosses. Now, according to the official description on Google Play Store, you can also unlock other characters. As for who they are, it is currently unknown. You can play multiplayer, collect Crash points to rank up on the leaderboards. You can also unlock challenges which you die-hard fans out there of the series might enjoy. According to Stephen Jarrett, one of the things that we have at the moment is challenge runs. These runs are for hardcore Crash platformers, right? You unlock time trials, you unlock challenge runs. These are there for the more die-hard players. So I would say the core of the game is for everyone, and that there's these really cool challenge runs for the more daring players. The game is free to play. You can pre-register now on your Android device. The link is in the description. Unfortunately, it seems not all regions can pre-register. Canada, for example, it doesn't work. By pre-registering, you get this blue hyena skin at launch, exclusively. Now yes, the game is free to play, but we are still looking at a mobile game, so there will be some sort of microtransaction. Free to play usually has some sort of real-life currency involved. This was to be expected, especially looking at King, the developer behind the Candy Crush saga. However, King didn't specify what this MTX, short for microtransactions, is currently about. But they are looking into implementing battle passes, and what is Battle Pass, you might ask? It does have ties with monetization. Basically, a Battle Pass will allow you to have access to rewards as you typically complete some given challenges. And no, they will not monetize the game through lives. Could you imagine purchasing lives? That would have been lame. If you're wondering about an energy bar, no, there will not be. And what is that, you might ask as well? Well, basically, if you play a mobile game for a certain amount of time, the game will tell you to wait until you can play again. Or you have the choice to use real money to skip that waiting period to dive straight back into your game. Why even do that in the first place, energy bars? Well, money is one. And two, by waiting, it'll entice people to go back to the game, you know, to build this routine throughout the day. As for Crash on the Run, there will not be an energy bar. However, from the gameplay that surfaced not too long ago, there is some form of waiting, at least 60 seconds. For example, the serum right here. To fill it up, you have to wait, and Coco will tell you to go on a collection run in the meantime. These serums, by the way, are used to access different levels. Stephen Jarrett at King also mentions that mobile games have to last a while in terms of replayability. With that, the game will have seasonal themes, saying that there will be new stories and crazy plans for Cortex and other characters. And yes, there will be battle passes surrounding that as well. And lastly, since we're dealing with the multiverse, this is sort of coming out during a resurgence of Crash. There's a new Crash console game coming. Has there been any cross-pollination in terms of story tie-ins or art assets? We exist in the timeline where every other Crash game exists in our timeline. In the future, we might have some sort of cross-pollination, and I think altogether, it's just so great to work in and play in this Crash world. Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, also deals with dimensional travel, and at the end, the mask called Lani Lowly makes a cheeky remark, basically saying something along the lines of, I don't think you guys dealt with Cortex only 3 times. So that kind of gives us an idea that perhaps this mask has seen other versions of Crash dealing with Cortex out there. So with that idea in mind, perhaps this mobile game in the future might introduce us to some elements of Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time. Because they both deal with the same theme, don't forget. So yeah, With that said, folks, this is it for the video. If you have any sorts of questions or anything of that matter, leave it all in the comments section below. And as always, I've been Vivi and thank you so much for watching.